Hello, you guys. So today I am going to be talking about My Little Pony Young Six. Now, I'm not going through all of each character in one episode about the Young Six, each of the members of the Young Six in one video, like 6 videos apart. I'm going to do it all in one video because they all pretty much are in the same story. They do like the same thing, and they're just left out in a lot of episodes. So I don't think there's really any need to make separate videos about them. So here it is, one video about them. I'm gonna go from the how where they appear from the start to the end the last time, and I'm not gonna go through the comics because they're not canon actually. So, anyways, we're gonna start off with part 1 and part 2 of season 8. So no, actually, there was an Equestria Girls episode. I forgot what it is. Forgotten Friendship. I don't know. Sandbar was in the background. He was just there. So, anyways, now let's get to part 1 and part 2. So, we see Sandbar. He's enjoying school, school of friendship. The rest of the creatures do not. Ocellus is shy. Smolder was, she didn't want to come, but her mother told her to. Gallus didn't want to come either, but his father forced him to. Yona was actually glad to go to school. She thought that she was going to smash stuff, because she started smashing stuff when she was in that school. We have Silverstream, who was so enthusiastic about these things. She's into friendship. She's like Pinkie Pie a little bit. She was like, she enjoyed studying, but not as much as Ocellus, since she was more smarter than Silverstream. And who do we have left? Hang on a second. No, that's it. Yeah, I just realized that's all all their reactions at school. Okay, so after that, at first they enjoyed the school, because that's like the true friendship of fun, like all the fun things. That's what friendship is all about. But Twilight wanted to follow the EEA laws, so she changed them. They all got bored, and the Young Six got tired of that, so they decided to escape school, and they're at like a shore or at a pond where they're hanging out. And while they're hanging out, Yona and Sandbar were not left out when the flying members of the Young Six had picked them up. But while they were doing that, Ocellus was also playing around by turning into this giant hornet beast and chased after them, which scared everybody at School of Friendship, including the parents. And the EEA, hang on a second. Alright, sorry, I'm back. So I just looked up, it's Neisei. Chancellor Neisei, that's who I was trying to say. Okay, so Neisei showed up and just looked at what happened. And it was because of the creatures, well, that's what he thought, who had destroyed the school. And he thought that he canceled School of Friendship because of those creatures. But Twilight had argued him over that School of Friendship is for all critters, not just for ponies. And they get to learn about the experience of friendship too, and how they get to be friends with friendship, how they can like someone and have friendship without dating somebody, and teamwork makes the dream work, all of that. But Neisei was just like, fuck it. I'm gonna lock up this school, and I'm gonna be out of here, while you, creatures, get to go back to your homes, as I'm a racist stallion. So, fuck that guy. So then we get to part 2. And on part 2, Sandbar, off camera, takes these carts from Applejack, he takes these cushions and pillows and blankets from Rarity, he takes the sweets from Pinkie Pie, and he's doing all this because his friends had left their homes just to be together, and they didn't want to be separated. So they were at the Two Sisters Castle, and while they were standing there, they were just amazed. Silverstream be on steps because she was always underwater because of that monster. I forgot his name. But while they were doing that, the main six were trying to find them because their parents were trying to look after them, like we're trying to find them. They left. Because the young six had left notes to them. So meanwhile, back at the castle, the young six had noticed these porcupines, or whatever these little beasts are. And so Ocellus knew who they were, but I forgot who they were. And she was like looking at them, she was like getting close to them, but they started becoming dangerous. They started going behind the carts, and they were going to have these confidence until they got help from Spike and his main six friends. And Twilight understood that they were together because of friendship. They understood, the rest of the creatures besides Sambar understood the true meaning of friendship. So she welcomed them back into School of Friendship, and she brought back the rules of what they were before EEA. But Neisei just denied this. But Twilight fought back with him. But Neisei just denied it anyway, but he left her doing what she wanted to do with the rules that were before. So now that everybody is back from school, they get to have fun. They learn friendship a lot. They learn a lot. They learn exams and all of that. They got a picture by photo finish, and alright, yeah, that's part 2. So then we go to 5 and to episode 5, and Smolder, Sambar, and Yana having no idea what Rainbow Dash was doing. Then we get to episode 7, where the Young Six were doing a play of the ancient story of how Celestia rised up the sun after the other 6 had been trying to use power all the time with the sun lifting up, and they got tired. So, but while they were doing that, the real Celestia showed up, and apparently she was not doing very good with these things on the stage, and she just pulled the lever by accident, I think, and the Young Six just fell down on the floor and down to the lever, and they were damaged because of their clothes were damaged, and which is actually fitting because in the end of that episode, they showed up and everyone laughs at them, but Spike just protects them, defends them by saying to the audience that they were getting tired of looking at the sun each day, and they got so tired. That was so fitting right there. So instead of Celestia, who is not very good at the play, which I felt bad for her, she didn't want to do it. They instead had Fluttershy go up there instead. And she's pretending to be Celestia, and she lifts up the sun, lifts up that, when she tries to do the play, do that famous line that I forgot Celestia says, the actual sun shows up. The actual sun comes up. And the audience cheers. They were amazed by this. This is actually real. It's like looking at the backstory. It's like going back in time. It's like you're actually at the time where Celestia actually did this. Hang on a second. I had to cough. Alright, so anyways. We go to the next episode, episode 8, which Ocellus, Gallus, Silverstream were just there at the background. That was it. So, episode 9 of season 8 is mainly focused about them. They made a full appearance. Except it's not really mainly about them. It's about Rainbow Dash and Applejack. So, Rainbow Dash and Applejack wanted to be the teacher of the month. Instead of helping each other, they were competing. Which is not what Twilight wanted. That's not true friendship. So, at first, Applejack makes them try to build a house. But they want it, at first they wanted to do things their way instead of doing teamwork. That's what Rainbow Dash and Applejack wanted to do. So Applejack did her way by by telling the Young Six to build up a wooden house or a shed. But Rainbow Dash was so quick that she was so impatient, she just had to build all of it. And then Applejack's like, okay, we could just go with that. Alright, lift down that roof, would you? Alright, just a little bit there, a little bit there. No, bring it down just a little. No, bring it up. And then Rainbow Dash is like, oh my god, this is taking too much. And she just crashes down that shed. And however, Yona just enjoyed it. So I'm not pausing that time. Alright. So after that, Rainbow Dash decided to make them do it her way by telling them to row. Like, she's telling them to stroke aggressively. She's just so impatient. She's like, come on, newbies. You can do it. Pedal to the metal. She did not say that, but Applejack, well, while she was doing that, Applejack's like, alright, well, you do that, I'm gonna make them patiently do it. We're gonna do this the old-fashioned way, okay? Stroke. The problem is, though, neither of them were moving. So Rainbow Dash decided, no, you know what, just let me do it, okay? Alright, come on, let's do it. Stroke, do it faster. But so her and Applejack were arguing over who was the better teacher of the month, and while they were doing that, Sandbar notices, oh my god, a rock, or whatever they are crashing at the rock thing. They were crashing at something. The boat crashes and they were in the water. Oh yeah, and I forgot to tell you, Yona was afraid of going into the water, so when they crashed into the water, she was drowning. But luckily, Ocellus and Silverstring turned into these creatures to go into the water and helped her get out of the water. And so they rescued her, but it was a disaster. Applejack and Rainbow Dash did not do good teamwork. So when Twilight showed up, she was like, how is this going on? Like, how are you guys doing? But then the Young Six were telling her what they were doing, like them competing, and Twilight just couldn't handle. Like she believed it because that's what they would do, because they did that. They used to do that all the time. So Twilight decided for someone else to become the new teacher of the month. Like decided for someone else to, or should I say, some pony else or other creatures to tell them what to do. Tell the Young Six to do teamwork to earn that frame, the picture of teamwork, like teacher of the month or Fluttershy. But Rainbow Dash and Applejack lied by saying, you know what, Twilight, wait a minute, hold on. Okay, I saw Rainbow Dash, you actually did very good over there. Oh yeah, Applejack, you did good too. And that's how Twilight decided, alright, fine, I'll give you one more chance, okay? Do well, or you're fired. I'm kidding, she did not do that. But that's what it was like, okay? It was kind of like that. But, so they started, right. Twilight was like, okay, alright, I'll let you have you guys another chance. Or like this, alright, I'll have you ponies another chance. However, I want you to go over there, and go around the trails and all that, go around circles, and like what you guys are going to do later in this episode, and try to work hard. They didn't like doing it, but they had to. And I'm saying this is what it's like. I'm not saying this is what Twilight wanted. I'm not saying this is exactly what she said. But they later did what she wanted them to do. But when they went into that forest, they went around circles. Sandbar was the only one who was noticing this, and the rest of them were not. He was like, wait, we just went past that. We just went past that again. And again. Like, and after that, they got tired. And this was all because Rainbow Dash and Applejack were like, they were like half competing. They were like, yeah, we'll let you do it your way. No, I'll let you do your way. No, I insist you. And they got sick and tired. Gallus got sick and tired of it as well. So they decided. Gallus was like, "Can we just go back home? Can we just go back to that school?" So Applejack and Rainbow decided to, instead of just flying over there, like what they wanted to do, instead, like what the Young Six wanted to do, they instead, Rainbow and Applejack decided to build a bridge of sticks and a bridge of vines. But then they got all tangled up oh yeah, those fishes I forgot to tell you guys about. They were, the thing that they were rowing on the boat, they were like fishes. They were like, I mean, fish. Not fishes. They're these dangerous fish that were trying to eat Rainbow and Applejack when they were tied up in this rope and stick ball. And the Young Six rescued them. And they told Twilight how they did, and I guess they lied that they were doing very well, but they brought up the truth that they were rescuing them. Twilight was glad. And Twilight was glad that that everything was sorted out, but you cannot escape through Twilight's cleverness. And that's when she told Applejack and Rainbow that they were competing the entire time. And it was exposed that they were arguing in front of Twilight, and she's like, I knew it, while she was walking away. So, the next episode is like the molt. The next episode they appeared was in this molt. Spike was so loud that his throat was so dry because he had the puberty. And he was doing that while Sandbar, Yona, and Smolder were at the library, and Smolder was like, "Can you keep it down?" But this is when Smolder realizes that he has this puberty, and she actually tells him what this puberty was about. Since she was older than him, she told him how she went through it, that it was itchy, the fire coming out of her constantly, the big fire, sneezing, the smell, the quietness of their voice. It was a bad experience for her. But the one thing she left out was the wings that Spike had, which he had it later in the episode. So, but she also told him that when they get out of their puberty, like once they get out of their shell, they get to leave their family or get thrown out of the house. Same thing with Smolder when her brother probably did that to her. So, not off camera, that all this irrelevant stuff, Spike gets his wings later, yada yada yada. None of the Young Six were in there later in that episode. So they had another brief appearance in episode 12 when the Cutie Mark Crusaders were looking at these classes they were doing, and the Cutie Mark Crusaders were amazed by these classes they were doing, and they wanted to be in the school. But that's irrelevant about that, about the Cutie Mark Crusaders. Alright, so... But then we get to have more of the Young Six. So Twilight wanted Starlight to take over the school, but Discord keeps messing up. He keeps messing up the classes, and the Young Six got tired of this. So... And Discord just left all these teachers to tell them what to do and hired them, and it was not right. Even Gallus he had just had enough with that donkey who's like, no, too cold, too hot. Like, Gallus got tired of that donkey. So Discord lied about the pony to the main six going on an adventure. There was nothing going on, and he just felt left out about the school, and he decided to take over while the Young Six and all the other students were looking at the six treasures. And while they were trying to find the six treasures, he was making a lot of messes at school. and it started becoming a disaster, but it was entertaining. But he fixed everything back since that Starlight Glimmer understood why he was doing all this. But he didn't become the teacher's assistant. So anyways, we get to episode 15, and episode 15, everyone's going home, but while the Young Six were still there, Gallus, who they didn't know, that was actually sprinkling something goo, and that spilled on the Christmas tree and made a mess. And Spike, Twilight, and Rainbow Dash wanted to know who did this, and they were trying to find out. What they were trying to do is they wanted to know who did this, and they were trying to make them clean up. So, and while they were trying to make them clean up, they were trying to get one of them to into their office, into Twilight's office to witness what's going on, telling them that they didn't do it. And while Gallus was lying about that. So while they were doing that, they were talking about the Christmas stories. Smolder was nothing to do, it was just a made-up story. Yona was just smashing stuff. Ocellus was just something that was like opposite of Christmas. Sambar was just something that was not entertaining. Silverstream was the only one who actually had a good holiday. Like an actual good Christmas story. But Gallus, I felt bad for him. He explains why he did this. He explained why he did this mess. Because he actually doesn't have a family. This guy, like all these, it was this moon holiday where Gallus celebrate, where they actually get to be happy, but not actually happy. They get to share things that they don't want to do. They get to do other things they don't want to do. They get to have fun with things they didn't want to do. And Gallus was left out about this. And Grandpa Gruff was not actually his grandfather. And I know you're thinking that he was just adopted. No, he actually doesn't have a family. No Griffins have an actual family. So they actually felt bad for him. He was sorry, and he was lonely. And they get to confront him. They get to tell him that now you get to find real friends and spend some time with real friends instead of being left out anymore. So Twilight understood this, and well, she was going to give him amends, give him the punishment, but then she understood that he doesn't need that. So she decided to give them the holidays and spend time with them during Heartswarming special, and that's what they did. That's what they were, but they were just there at the Heartswarming Eve special. They were just going into the train, and that was it. So then, and then in episode 16 of episode 8, they were going to this new university school, and they were so fascinated that there was something that was more beyond than School of Friendship. But we don't know how they were disappointed that they ended up still being in the School of Friendship, because we don't get to see them anymore in that episode. Episode 17, they were trying to do a test. They were trying to write down stuff of what Rainbow Dash and Rarity would do in common, but they didn't. But they barely had anything in common, and they were arguing they were fighting over of things that they were not supposed to do. Like Rarity's like, Rainbow Dash, what are you doing? You're not doing this right. And then the other one's like, you're not doing this right either. No, you too. They started arguing. So what they did, what Twilight and Starlight were doing, and also Spike were doing, is that they were trying to, and the rest of the main six, I would say, they were trying to give them a test. But Rainbow Dash and Rarity didn't even realize it. So they were doing teamwork together, and when they got back in the school, they actually got back into school. There was a cave that led to them back in the school, and they realized it was just a test. And then that's when Rarity and Rainbow Dash realized that they don't have to do things in common. They could do something. They could still be friends while having something that's not in common. And that's when all the students wrote the things down. So then we get an episode that Sambar was not in. They were in a background while Scootaloo was doing these dangerous games. And then we have another episode that was kind of focused on them about, I'm sorry, I gotta pause again. Okay, so his name is Rockhoof, and he was moved to the school because he was so dangerous. So while he was telling a story about this Ursula Major fighting in the woods, and while he was doing that, he was destroying things in the school. And this is when Yona actually became very close friends with him because she actually had something in common with him. She was enjoying his stories, and she wanted to hear more from him. But he was doing a lot of these things that were it was not really his fault. It was just that he was not supposed to do it. So he thought that there was a fire, and he tried to rescue the students, but it turned out that it was just the dragons breathing fire. So then Twilight needed a spell from Sakura that he had to be turned into stone, like what they did to Discord, and then later with the main three. So they were going to, but Yona was like, "No, no, I wrote you something. I wrote you something. To you something, Rockhoof. Yona believes that Rockhoof is special and is good at fighting and is good at telling stories, and Yona doesn't want that to end." And he understood, and that's when he realized that, okay, maybe I can tell them some stories, uh and he's telling stories while Twilight it just was going to give him the spell to turn him into stone, but then she realized that um he doesn't need that because he is actually she realizes that he's good at telling stories because if he turns into stone, then no one is going to learn. No pony or any other creature from the future generations is gonna learn his stories. Like, learn precisely from his stories. They just have to read it and look at it, because like in real life stories, you gotta look at the sources, and ancient Egypt, like, you can't look at all these sources because it happened a long time ago. And they barely have anything other than the tombs that they have, like that they talk about on the Wikipedias about the pharaohs. Like that's something like that. So the next time they show up, the Young Six, they had to do a test, and it's about the tree. Now, half of them know what the tree is about, especially Ocellus and Silverstream, but the rest of them, especially Gallus, didn't know what to do. Like, didn't know how they're gonna pass. They don't entirely know how the Tree of Friendship, the history was. So, what they did is, if you guys did not know, well, most of you guys knew about this. Cozy Glow was actually, they actually made a reference of Six, where Catherine Howard of Six musical was actually like, you remember what she was saying? I mean, Catherine, almost moving into a nunnery and not. It also could have been done real hard for you. And Anne getting her head chopped off. Surely that means you'll win the competition. And she did the same thing with the Young Six, talking about their backstories, about how their bad backstories, how they were, about the bad things about the races, about Silverstream's she was like, I mean, Silverstream, being locked down there under the sea for years. It also could have been done real hard for you. And Sandbar, being only pony, having to be around with these creatures. And Gallus being left out. Like, that's how she was. Isn't that the reference of that? So, that's when they started arguing at each other because of Cozy Glow, which she apologized later. But insincerely apologized. So they found this vent, and they went down the vent. This Twilight, the fake Twilight, was actually the tree. They didn't know about it. So she separated them because they were arguing, not knowing about the friendship because of Cozy Glow. And I understand it was reasonable for the tree to do this, but I just felt bad for them. Like Gallus could have died. His nightmare was getting crushed by this, he got crushed by this big geode thing, and when he had to go through these blue he had to, when he touched the lights of the pink lights, they started clustering in. But when he went through these blue lights, it started opening, and he got out and he was set free. He realized it was a test. So he went to Silverstream, and Silverstream was looking at a shadow all along. It was not the enemy of the hippogriff sea ponies. So, but Gallus was telling her that it was just a test. But Silverstream didn't believe it. She was just being tough and just telling the shadow, like she was just trying to man up and tell the shadow to go away and tell her to leave and try to scare the shadow away, showing her confidence and over nothing. So, Yona was afraid of spiders. But she became friends with those spiders. They were helping out. That was her test. Smolder was not really a test. She was just looking at women, and she's like, I'm getting out of here, okay? And she's like, no, you must stay here. Alright. Hey, if you dress up, we'll let you go. She dresses up as a woman. And she liked dressing up as a woman. And Smolder does not like anyone looking at her as a woman. Every time they see her do that, she takes it off. And, where was that test? Okay. Who am I? Oh, yeah, Ocellus was afraid of Chrysalis. So she was terrified that she couldn't change back from Chrysalis to herself. But Smolder had the idea to make her change back by saying, unless you want to be Chrysalis forever, and she turns back into Ocellus. So finally we get to Sandbar's test. And Rarity and Rainbow Dash that were fake tried to tell Sandbar to let you go somewhere on a mission. But they were But Sandbar was like, I'd rather be with my friends. And then Rarity's like, wait, you rather hang out with those creatures? And then Sandbar was like, I thought you two were best friends and you teamwork with each other. I thought that's what you main six was all about. And that's about friendship. I don't disappoint you. You disappoint me. And then he realizes that it was just a test. So when they were about to leave, Twilight, the fake Twilight, was thanking them, that they were telling them that now they understand the true friendship. They understand that it was them who actually got through all of this with their friendship separately, because without the test, they would have kept arguing. So they got out there, they started going to sleep, and then the next time we see them, everything was losing magic. Everybody was starting to lose magic. And it was because Cozy Glow having this orb thing that was, that sucks all the magic in. And with all the artifacts, 6 artifacts that were there, it was at the Tree of Friendship where it is. And so they were the Young Six were trying to know what the Cozy Glow was up to, and they realized that Neisei was taking part of this instead of Cozy Glow, because he didn't want like a little filly taking over. So what Neisei did is that he locked the Young Six up, but Sandbar had this idea, and it was for a good reason. He pretended to hate the creature, his friends. And he disliked them because they were creatures, just so he could save them. So he had this idea. What he did was he had the Cuvar Crusaders, and they were trying to go under the vent into the Tree of Friendship, where that's when they realized that Starlight Glimmer was stuck in there. She was stuck in that orb. So it was dangerous for them to go in because they were about to get sucked in there. So Sandbar went up there to the window and tried to get all the rest of the Young Six out, and they realized that Sandbar was just playing a part. He was not trying to leave his friends. He was not disliking them. And so So they were trying to have no, well, not out of the window. They tried to escape out of the room, and and so while they were trying to get Neisei untied up, Neisei found this thing that he uses for magic, that he still has that magic that's not taken away. He was able to teleport and go and message to those princesses in time before that magic is taken away. So he tried to message them that it was Cozy Glow that was part of this all along. So the Young Six was trying to rescue Starlight Glimmer, but then Cozy Glow was accusing them. She was accusing them of what that they had Starlight Glimmer trapped in there, and that they wanted the magic taken away because they're creatures, because they were jealous that because she was lying that they were jealous that they had the friendship, that they had the magic that they don't. And but the truth is, Cozy Glow wanted power. That's what she wanted. So they were getting sucked. So the Young Six got sucked into the orb, but then they got out because of their friendship, and they were holding onto these artifacts, and they're trying to oh yeah, and also Starlight Glimmer got out of there, I believe, and while they were escaping, while Starlight Glimmer and the Young Six were escaping, Cozy Glow was the only one who got injured. So they all got her cornered. They had her arrested, and they put her in a cage. That's what you get, Cozy Glow. And the Young Six were about to graduate, but then they were telling them that they had another semester, but they still were able to help out. They were thanking them for helping out. So then we get to these episodes where they were just there, they were there at the mystery voice, they were trying to know where the voice of the mystery voice was, and that was just Applejack, the voice of the speakers of the school, the announcements. They were, and then I think they were there when Applejack was telling them different voices of the stories of that episode, that short. They were there at the Teacher of the Month, where they were where Fluttershy was like, all right, it's time to clean up. And they're like, aw. And then they decided, we'll clean up while having fun, doing games, or aw, it's over now. Well, let's do games. We gotta clean up now. Let's dance while we clean up. That's how she was doing that. And that's why they made her Teacher of the Month. And they were going to do that they were going to appreciate Applejack and Rainbow Dash because they were giving them a party. But then they realized, since that Fluttershy was the one who was helping them, that's when they were helping them with no, I'm sorry, what am I doing? Since they realized that it was Fluttershy who was helping them do this Teacher of the Month thing, and that's when they made Fluttershy Teacher of the Month, and then that really disappointed Rainbow Dash and Applejack, because they really thought that they were going to appreciate them by throwing a party, but then but it wasn't until they realized that it was Fluttershy who was helping them, and that's why she became Teacher of the Month again. It was funny, and they were okay with this. They thought it was funny. But then we have this episode where Twilight was afraid of ladybugs, and they were just there while she was afraid of ladybugs. So then we get to season 9. And that's when at first they were doing all these tests of the tree. We have other tests that were different, that some of the tests were same, but other tests Silverstream was doing this test at the school, the test of being a Wonderbolt. Sandbar was looking at which sweets. That's one of those different tests there. And Ocellus was doing graduation. Um, that's that. So then we have the tree there that was actually talking to them, so that way they can help fix the tree. The tree was actually destroyed, and it was probably because of Sombra. I haven't watched the episode, but they were fixing the tree, and at first they were making memorials instead of helping out. So they were arguing when they were messing, and then until Yona tells them that this is not what friendship is all about. And then she found the pieces that Sambar had hid, and they were doing a montage. They were singing, they were fixing up the tree, they were making like a tree house. They were making a playground, a tree house, and which formed into a new tree house. It was actually still alive. Still, turns out, and the tree of elements of harmony, or the tree of friendship, turned into this tree house, and it was something even better. It was a home. So Twilight, so the tree actually told them that it was them that actually worked out teamworks together. So and Twilight just couldn't believe that. Even Spike couldn't. So Twilight, Spike, and the Young Six went inside the tree, and next time we get to see them, like episode 5, they were just season 9 episode 5, they were just there. Twilight wanted to know who this person was, and then Silverstream was like, in episode 7, it was about Yona, and now Yona didn't know anything about dancing. None of the creatures except for Sambar, for the Young Six, and all the other ponies about the dance. So Yona needed help from Rarity and the rest of the main 6, and they were teaching them. They were teaching her how to do the steps and how to dress up, but it was, but it was not something that was for her to fit in. So Yak was doing what Rarity was and the rest of the main 6 were telling her to do. And it was a disaster. She ended up bumping in because of the wig, and it was a mess, and she started crying and running away, and everybody was feeling bad for her. Sambar then confronted her. And he told her that she was the Yona, that she was unique, she was very fun, into smashing stuff. That's why he wanted her to dance. And Yona felt better with that. So they all went back, and she tried to apologize, but the main 6 was saying that it's us that we should apologize. We were telling you things that you were not fit in, that was not good for you, and we should be sorry for that. And everything, and so that's when Yona and Sambar had earned the trophy, and Yona decided to show everybody how to dance like a yak, and they were like just bouncing up and down. It was funny. So we have then we have season 9 episode 9. I gotta pause this. Okay, so I was trying to look up who the brother is, and it was Garble. Garble is Smolder's Smolder's brother. Oh, I forgot about one episode where Spike was trying to learn how to fly, and he thought that this dragon was his father, but it turns out it was not. So Smolder was teaching Spike how to fly, and he knew how to fly. But then Spike was like at first that Spike was knowing how to fly. I'm very proud of that. I'm appreciative of him flying, and he's Smolder was so proud of teaching him that, and he's finally learning how to fly at last. But then later, when that dragon showed up, he wanted to act like how dragons would behave and how they live, and not be with Twilight anymore. And Twilight was just being left out about that, and so then Spike was trying to find a new home where the dragons were living at, and he was telling Smolder that, so where can I live? What can we do as dragons? And Smolder's like, I know that this is something that dragons do, but I still, this is where I stay at School of Friendship. Just because I'm a dragon, it doesn't mean I get to I get to go at my home. But then Spike didn't listen about that, but then he realized that it wasn't his father all along. And then that's when he just realized that maybe that staying with ponies and other creatures besides dragons was something better than being with dragons after all. Getting back to that episode, they were trying to find her brother. And at first her brother didn't like Spike because he thought about him as baby, childish, doing things that ponies would do, and just bullied him. But the thing behind him is that he's actually a poet. And, a poet who would play bongos. But he kept that as a secret because he was afraid that the dragons would make fun of him. That's why he only did things around his sister and not anyone else. But he did it anyway, just so they could make them laugh and try to hatch the eggs. So, the mother, Ember, congratulated her son, Gabble, what is his name again? Garble. She congratulated Garble for being the hero of making the eggs hatch, and she was telling him to do more poems. That she was saying it was good. So, then we get to the next episode about them. That, like, after that episode. Oh, no. There's another episode that focused about. Okay, so this was mainly about Silverstream. It was season 9, episode 11. See, Silverstream was trying to do this, testing that she had no idea how to do this. Like, she thought that, basically, like, what she was supposed to do with this project. And, I know I keep pausing, but I have to. It's something I have to do. This is reasonable, because this is actually very important to say. Alright, so it was a cockatrice. That's what she was studying on. And she kept coming to, Starlight Glimmer, asking her what she was supposed to do with the project, and it was not really relevant, and she thought it was. But she was wasting the students' time, and wasting Starlight Glimmer's time of having other students having a talk with her about what to help before the spring break. But then it wasn't until when it was Trixie who pushed Starlight Glimmer, telling her to stop this and have a party. And then that's when Starlight Glimmer had enough with Silverstream, and she had shut her away, and she ended up being in a forest. Not ended up, but Silverstream was just lost. She was at the treehouse, and her brother Terramar and everyone else was trying to find her. But turns out she was at the tree all along. She was at the treehouse all along. So, and she had a cockatrice with her. And one of them was turned into stone. But she apologized for that. But she was trying to finish working on a project. That's why she couldn't come with Terramar and the rest of her family. So she apologized for having that pony turned into stone while they were trying to find her. And Trixie was the one that she should be blamed. She was like, I think I should be the one to blame. But while they were the hypocrites were trying to get back home, they were trying to have a party, and the cake was just hard to eat. So, anyways, after that, the Young Six was just there. Like, they were just there. Like, Silverstream was just with her friend in season 9, episode 13. Episode 15, we have the cheerleaders, 2, 4, 6, great. That episode. So it was Yona, hold on. The rest of the Young Six were just there watching the cheerleaders doing the cheerleading. And we have the two cheerleaders. We have Yona, Smolder, and Ocellus doing the cheerleading thing, and they don't know how to do it. So Rainbow Dash was supposed to help them, but she wasn't interested. She was interested in the games. But Snails and Snips were trying to convince her to still do it. She didn't do it. She was just watching. So she constantly did it. So Smolder just came up, and she was just like, all right, I'm getting sick of this. Are you gonna help us or not? Okay, you're having Snips over here giving us makeup and these little flags to hold as crowds cheering for games, which is not what cheerleading is all about. So Rainbow Dash then tries to help them, and she's not very good at it, but she tries to help them anyway. And she was afraid during the finals of what they're like. She was afraid of what's gonna happen, the result during the games. But it turns out the cheerleading was great, but they lost because Celestia's side team won instead of Twilight. But the cheerleaders were still congratulated for what they did. They did, in my opinion, what they did was better than the other team did. But unfortunately, the rest of the episodes, they were just there. Like, episode 19, season 9, episode 19, Gabby the Griffin and Spike were trying to have Gallus take a picture, and receiving an envelope from Gabby, and which makes sense for him because he's a Griffin. They're both Griffins. And Gallus was with Silverstream. No, not Silverstream. She was not there. No, I think it was Silverstream and Yona. They were, yeah, and they were just there, and Gallus was just there at that part, and then that was it in that episode with them. And then they were at, and then there was another episode about them where it was kind of focused about them. Okay, so Silverstream was playing instruments, but she was playing instruments with other students, and Pinkie Pie was just having this big horn, big trumpet, tuba, whatever it was. It had all these horns, and everybody started laughing. And the rest of the students, Yona was with this mother of a friend of the Kunimar Crusaders, which I forgot their names, but she was just saying, loyalty is not just about the friendship you just learn about, but going deeper with this book. And Gallus was so bored at this with the music, but then it got so exciting and started celebrating. I forgot those two ponies that the mares who do the music together, but Gallus realized it was fun. It later got fun after it got bored, and he enjoyed it. But Gallus was, his fake grandfather was just forced to come over here, and he was not appreciated for what he was experiencing, for what Gallus was experiencing. And also, Big Mac had no idea what to say about Silverstream. Sandbar was doing well, but Smolder was just having a hard time with Dr. Hooves. And and because it was not really time travel, it was just a chair that Dr. Hooves was making. And then Gallus was just there at was at sleeping class by Trixie, which that's not supposed to happen. Most of everybody was just doing terrible at schools. And Yona was there at a class with Trixie, but she brought like the field trip there, and there was a beehive that caused like thundering lightning beehives that chased after these creatures. I mean, chased after the students, and they were leaving. And oh yeah, and Gallus was no, not Gallus. Ocellus was she liked the thread that the thread machine. I forgot what it was that Big Mac was doing. So then that was that with that episode. And then, they were just there when they were just helping out the students go down to the lever where the Tree of Friendship was at, or Tree of Harmony was at, like underground. Or no, that's not where it was. It was actually where oh, yeah. Well, the tree. Well, technically, the tree. Yeah. So, anyways, we get to episode 25 of season 9, and while all the creatures were just separated, they were just running around panicking. But then it was the young six and everyone else who made speeches that they were telling them about friendship. That friendship is what brought us together. Friendship is what got us all working together, and that's the true magic. And they accepted it. Everyone was all together in a battle, and they defeated the main three. So they were in season 9, episode 26, Last Problem. They were barely there. They were there at Twilight's coronation, which was a disaster. They were shocked by Twilight about to fall, but she was catched. She was trying to catch the crown on her, but it was a disaster. And then sadly, we don't get to see we only get to see cameos of their older appearances. Sambar and Yona were just at I guess he liked hanging out with Yax, and they were probably doing dance lessons together. Silverstream was probably like going to the school, like working at the school, because she was so fascinated with school. She was underwater. She came out as an adult hippogriff. Then we had so then we have Smolder and Ocellus, who were just up there. So Ocellus was big friends with Smolder. She gave her Ocellus was giving her like a tea because Smolder was dressing as a woman earlier. She would like doing that. Smolder was like looking at a telescope, but that's about them in the cameo. And then Gallus was just a guard who, good for him because he protects himself from getting crushed and inside. But he was just there as a guard, and it's sad that we barely get to see any of their appearances. That they were mostly just there. And we don't get to see any of their future appearances, like only their cameos. We never get to hear about their future stories. And it's just, I just don't know why it had to be like this. But anyways, there you have it. That was the whole ultimate guide of the Young Six. So, make sure you like and subscribe, and I'm out of here.